It's LordstoneTv or LTV, and we have with us one of our teachers that we want to have a conversation about what is happening in the educational system. And this is just a conversation, and I believe you will learn one or two lessons from this conversation. And for every teacher, we always say you are a tool that if you position yourself very well, you can always make an impact in the life of that learner. Oftentimes, we say students are unintelligent because they have delayed cognitive abilities, or some even say they are autistic or special learners or whatever. We easily want to group or tag as learners when they are not able to understand what we are teaching them. But we believe the teacher has the power to make impacts in the life of that learner despite their cognitive differences. So, what is your name and what are you studying at the university?
My name is Harriet Siyamwa and I'm studying BSc Psychology.
Okay. Um, so that's MBSc psychology.
Yes, please.
And what are the career options available to you
Career options available to me, for
after that
example,
course?
we have forensic psychology, um, clinical psychology, a social psychologist, educational psychologist, um,
But since it's not education or BEd, can a BSc still come into the education
yeah,
space?
I think so because in my school we are under, even though we are BSc Psychology, we are under the Educational Foundation.
Mm. Okay,
So I think it's possible.
okay. So which is your preferred area of career?
Forensic psychology,
Forensic
forensic,
psychology. Okay. So why do you want to do that one?
because I'm interested in law and crime and stuff like that.
Okay. Um, you once came to us after SS.
Yes, please.
What were some of the career, work that you found yourself before you got
First,
admission to the university?
first, um, my aunties got a job for me at a filling station, but then I couldn't do it because of the smell of gas and petrol. So later, my dad brought me to his place, and then I went to first work at a lady who was having a provision shop, and then later, I don't close early, so my dad moved me, and then I started working in the school.
Okay. So I'm asking this question in reference to the fact that um, the transition from SS to university, you should not idle yourself in the house. Find yourself doing something that gives you an experience, because that experience can be carried forward later on in your career or even in your educational pursuit. So all the SS leavers, don't sit in the house and be watching TVs and your phones. Busy yourself, using your energy and time working to gain experience. Great. So when you came working at um, Goshen, what are some of the skills that you were able to learn? Because previous to that, you hadn't taught before,
Yes,
and you thought teaching was difficult for you.
yes.
But when you came, how was the experience?
I got to realize that teaching was not all that bad because when I was small, I used to think that teachers are suffering because students disturb, and I didn't want to be disturbed. But when I came to Goshen, I learned more of patience, and then I also got to learn about some few ways to help students, especially early children, be able to read and write. So I got to learn that type of skills in teaching the children very well.
Okay, so you were able to acquire both soft skills and hard skills.
Yes, please.
And then when you went to school and you came back, within that short period, you found yourself busy in another institution,
Yes,
which is a
please.
teaching institution. How was the place like when you got there? How was that school?
The place was okay. The place was good.
In terms of learning,
In
how
terms,
many students were in the class?
in my class, there were 36 students.
36. How many, what class was that?
primary one.
P1,
Yes, please.
basic one. And how many were able to read and write well at the time you started?
When it comes to the reading, I'll say about two students. I could say they could read
Out of
out of
36.
36. And then when it comes to the writing, I could get about 20 students who can write well.
Mm,
Yes.
okay. And what were the challenges you noticed why they couldn't read by
I noticed,
stage one?
yes, I noticed that before they came to class one, it starts a belief you want to teach a child how to read. But then their teacher before didn't teach them how to apply the phonetics. So then they knew the phonetics, they can say it, but then they said it's like a rhyme instead of being able to apply it. So if it's a word is on the board like three-letter words, they can't say it because they don't know how to apply the phonetics to it to be able to say it. So unless you ask them, like what is especially a word like an ant, then they'll be like they don't know what the word is. So you'll be like A sounds like what, and you'll be like ah, and then you'll be like okay, so N is what, and you'll be like then you tell them so if you put I and together, what sound will it give you? And even with that, they will still find it difficult. But then eventually, when you keep putting and adding a little bit of pressure, they'll be able to put it together and you'll get the an. Then you add the T and then you'll get the word.
Okay. So how were they singing? You said they say the sound of the alphabet like a rhyme. How were they singing?
They'll be saying it like A, A, B, B, C, K. They can say
They
that
can say all to
to
add to
Z.
Z,
Yes.
but they
But
don't know how to.
no, apply it.
So whose fault? Where is that challenge coming from?
I felt like if those particular students, majority of them, if you teach them, they will know. So I feel like it was the fault of the teacher they had before, or the
So
teachers
the
they had.
teacher didn't know how to
Yes.
apply the sound of the alphabet to teach them how to read.
Yes.
But when you started, how many, by the time you left, you spent how many months?
Two.
2 months.
Yes, please.
And what was the impact, your impact on them?
I had about 5 to 6 students who were able to read at least up to four-letter words and five-letter words.
Mm, okay. So if a learner is not doing well, who do you think? Where is the challenge coming from?
I would say
Because
it's
within the short period, less than let's say 2 months that you find yourself there, we're able to get six to add up to the two that we're able to read out of 36.
yes, please.
So what was that magic you did? What was that?
It was just giving them, like, helping them to apply the phonetics to the words, to the alphabet, so that they can put them together and then say the word. That was just all.
Okay. And where did you learn that?
I learned that from the previous school I was teaching in Goshen Model School.
Okay. And who was the one who conducted the training?
It was you. Uh,
Okay, so let me come in here. Um, we do training for teachers. So it's either Center for Cognitive Development and Educational Training, where we teach phonics application. And I think at our school, when she came, we got the opportunity to teach her from the basis. And I think that's what she's trying to say. Okay. But do you see that the teachers there know how to use the phonics?
um, the class next to me was class 4. And the class 4 teacher, there were a few times I heard him using the phonetics with the class 4 students. So I think some of the class 4 students too were not very able to. But I think he was doing well with the phonetics. But then with the class KD2 class, that was where I was finding it a little bit difficult to understand how she was using the phonetics. Because sometimes I find her reading it for them and then they repeat after her.
Okay, so what was happening was more teacher centered.
Yes.
Repeat after me. The teacher writes the word on the board and asks the learners to
To
repeat
repeat
after
her.
her. And that's if the child sees any word that the teacher has not written on the board again, probability of the child to mention it to be a challenge.
Yes,
Is
please.
that not the case? Okay. So what would you say has been the benefits of trying your hands on teaching?
Okay. One benefit I always say is patience because I wasn't a very patient person. Like, I mean, I have like I feel like what I've taught you, you're supposed to. Now I was teaching them like I'm teaching my colleague, but then I realized they are children and you're supposed to be more patient. And also with the phonetics side, I feel like it's very good. It helps a lot
So
because
will you
even as old as I am, there are some words that they are huge words. I break them down using the phonetics and then I get it easily.
okay? So that's really helped.
Yes.
What will you tell any other teacher that is watching you?
I'll tell them that they should have a little bit patient. Not all the children are cognitively intelligent. Some of them need time. And sometimes too, some of the children are special children, like they put dyslexia or something like that. So students like that, they need extra caring, extra attention.
Mm, okay. So will you recommend our training consults for any teacher or school that wants to really help their learners? And the school in a home, if you want to know how to let your learners read and write effectively, it all boils down to the phonics application, not just saying the phonics sound, but the application. Will you recommend us to any other teacher or school that wants to bring that transformation in the academics?
Yes, please. I will recommend this.
Okay.
Sorry.
So what is the name of the consult?
It's the Center of Cognitive Development and Educational Training.
Okay. So Center for Cognitive Development Educational Training. And in case you want to reach out to us, the number is 0242 548430. Again, 0242 548430. Hope you've learned one or two things from this brief conversation. We believe that the teacher has a key and the secret to turn around the learning outcome of every learner, despite their cognitive abilities. And when you get in touch, we'll help you do rightly that and even beyond. Thank you. See you soon. Or hope to hear from you soon.